Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report about an ETF, a fund that trades like a stock, all about short-term, environmentally and socially conscious investing. Let's see if this fund is truly as green as it claims or if it's just wearing a recycled suit. This ETF or exchange traded fund aims for high income while keeping your money safe in very short-term investments, all while claiming to focus on companies that are environmentally and socially responsible. We'll check out its performance, where it's putting its money, and any big changes they've made recently. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. First, let's talk about cost what you're paying to be in this fund. If you invested $10,000, it would cost you only 26 ARBARs per SOUS. It includes some fee waivers, meaning if they didn't give those waivers, the cost would be higher. The fund manager is giving a small discount for now, but it may not last forever. Now, how did the fund actually perform? For the 12 months ending in April of 2025, the fund increased by 5.63%. They compare themselves to what's called ICE Buffer US Treasury Bill Index, which measures how short-term US Treasury securities are doing. It rose 4.98% during the same period. That means the fund did a little better than just investing in basic government debt. If you're an investor, you should expect the fund to go up or down with normal market fluctuations compared to other general market short-term investment options, not taking into account any possible tax implications. So where did that good performance come from? The investments in bank stocks made the most money, especially picking the right banks. Also investing in commercial paper, pretty much like short-term IOUs issued by companies, contributed to the returns. And lastly, asset-backed securities they focused on high-quality versions also helped increase returns. It's good that there were no significant detractors, so that means nothing major held it back. These investments helped returns compared to what they would have been if they just invested in treasury bills. Here's the long view for existing investors in this fund. Since the fund only started in January 2023, let's see how this investment performed. Imagine you put $10,000 in January that year. By April 2025, you'd have $11,344. Now, if you had put that same $10,000 in the Bloomberg US Aggregate Index, it has increased to 166.6. And if you had put 10,000 in the Bloomberg US Aggregate Index, it has increased to 166.6. And if you had put 10,000 in ICE Buffer US Treasury Bill Index, it would be 1119.7 by April of 2025. Keep in mind again that past performance doesn't mean future success even with all of those returns. Time to assess how much buying and selling happens inside the fund. The portfolio turnover rate is 48%. This means that during the year, the fund traded almost half of its entire holdings. It's very active with its purchasing decisions. Depending on trading strategies and costs, this might be good or bad. Now, what are they even buying with this fund? As of April 2025, let's check where they invested 74.4% of their money is corporate bonds from different companies. 17/4 from Ashton, something called commercial paper. Those are like short-term loans to corporations. A smaller portion, 1.8%, is in asset-backed securities. These are bonds that are secured by assets like loans. US Treasury obligations are 1.7%, and certificates of deposit is another 0.8% is in asset-backed securities. These are bonds that are secured by assets like loans. US Treasury obligations are 1.7%, and certificates of deposit is another 0.8% is in asset-backed securities. These are bonds that are secured by assets like loans. US Treasury obligations are 1.7%, and certificates of deposit is another 0.8% of the fund's holdings. A lot has changed recently with this fund. In January of 2024, Franklin Templeton bought Putnam, which was the fund's advisor. Then in July, Franklin Templeton moved the fund's management over to Franklin Advisors, which is also owned by Franklin Templeton Investment Management. Basically, there were a lot of internal moves and mergers going on behind the scenes, but the same big company, Franklin Templeton Investment Management, basically there were a lot of internal moves and mergers going on behind the scenes, but the same big company, Franklin Templeton Investment Management, basically there were a lot of internal moves and mergers going on behind the scenes, but the same big company, Franklin Templeton Investment Management, basically there were a lot of internal moves and mergers going on behind the scenes. But the same big company, Franklin Templeton Investment Management, basically there were a lot of internal moves and mergers going on behind the scene to move itself around before settling in. Let's talk about the auditor, what the company hires to check out the numbers. The audit fees were around $23,000 for 2025 and about $21,000 the previous year. They also paid about $4,000 for tax services. Small numbers, pretty typical. Alright, that's it. I'm joking, of course. Here are my thoughts regarding this ETF and if it's a good one for investors such as you. While the fund claims to be environmentally friendly, it's impossible to know based on the document how much of a factor it is. Overall, the fund is a bit better than just buying government debt. What it is actually better is there are a lot of big changes going on behind the scenes with who runs the fund, so it makes it hard to make a long-term decision. If you're looking for short-term investment, the fund does seem to be a good option. I expect a rise in future returns. Alright, that's our breakdown of this SEC filing. What's your opinion on it? What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.